I don't know what y'all got going on down there in the Dominican Republic, but according to the CDC, the HIV and AIDS epidemic is out of control. Now, no shade to the passport bros, because I know they might get offended on this, but according to recent reports, the key factors contributing to the rising HIV rates down there in the Dominican Republic is tourism. In other words, you passport bros are infecting and being infected by those folk down there, those women down there in the Dominican Republic. Now, I know a lot of y'all gonna come on here and say, well, we go down there and we trying to find the traditional wives. Well, here's the fact of the matter. How do you know who's traditional or not when you're not even from those regions? That's another topic for another day. Anyway, don't get mad at me. I'm just reporting the news. And according to the CDC, you passport bros are down there in the Dominican Republic moving real foul. You know, how do you fly across seas and smash these chicks, and the mommies with the cake? Y'all know what cake I'm talking about. And here's the thing, y'all smashing the mommy with the cake, and she's sending y'all back to the States with something you can't shake. I'm confused by the fact that y'all will fly all the way over there and meet complete strangers. That's crazy work right there. That's nasty work if you ask me. I'm convinced that most likely some of y'all already knew you was infected, so you went over there, you know what I mean? And y'all did some strange things with them women over there.
Hi, beautiful Black women. My name is Abby. In this video, we're talking about what I'm calling the passport to HIV pipeline, because these loser Black men are flying overseas, not for love, not for marriage, not for culture, but for cheap coochie. And a lot of them are coming back with HIV, so let's get into it. These men love to pretend that they're traveling the world to find wives. They'll sit on YouTube for hours talking about how submissive and feminine foreign women are. They'll record vlogs in broken Spanish talking about how beautiful the women are in Colombia, in the Dominican Republic, even in Thailand. But that's not why they're going over there. They're not flying across oceans for love. They're flying across oceans because it's cheaper to buy coochie in those countries than to pay for a dinner in Miami. Now, let's be honest. These are not men who can afford real relationships. They can't afford to date a woman who has her own income, her own goals, and her own expectations. These men can barely afford a haircut. And you think they're flying out of the country to find a wife? No, they're flying out of the country because $40 can buy them the illusion of being a man. Because a woman with nothing will tolerate anything. If you are poor enough, even dusty men can look like providers. If these men really loved feisty Latinas the way they claim, they could have stayed right here in America. You can go to Miami and be surrounded by Cuban women, Dominican women, Colombian women. Literally, everything they claim to love sitting right in Miami. And guess what? You don't even need a passport. But they don't go to Miami. Why? Because Miami women don't want them. Miami women like men with money. They like nice things. They like designer. They like men who provide something more than empty words and inflated egos. You can't impress a Miami woman with $80 and a sob story. Those women down in Miami, they're not desperate, so they're not interested. So what do these men do? They hop on a Spirit flight with their little backpack and their passport, headed to a third world country where their broke behinds can feel important. It's not about power, it's about control. It's about access to bodies they could never touch in the US. They don't want love, they want submission without effort. They want beauty without standards. They want access without accountability. And let's be clear, these women overseas don't actually love them. Of course they don't. Their own mamas don't love them. A lot of them are just trying to survive. When you're in poverty, when you have mouths to feed, when you're dealing with limited options, you might say yes to things you would normally say no to. And these men know that. They bank on that. They exploit that. That's what makes them predators, not providers. Now, here's where it starts to go dark. Let's really talk about what's happening, which is HIV. You have all these broke men flying into countries like the Dominican Republic where the HIV rates have been rising over the past few years.
Nurses talk. Okay. Nurses talk. I don't care if you're a tech, CNA, LPN, LVN, RN, NP, regional nurse, doctor. Healthcare talks. Okay? And one thing what we're now hearing is that these so-called passport bros are coming back HIV positive. So that video that you see these men smiling and gleaming from ear to ear, happy that these so-called beautiful women want them and willing to do any and everything for them, go over there and have any nasty, dirty deed they ever want done, is coming back HIV positive. So that welcoming party is welcoming you to the world of AIDS. They don't want to talk about that though. They don't want to get involved in all of that. But us nurses, we talk. We may not say your name, but situation, yeah, passport bros. Some of them come back HIV positive. What? Are you serious? Yeah, we talk, honey. Coming back over here with shit, with the gift that keeps on giving. If you see anyone with a bottle of Batavi in their medicine cabinet, that is HIV medication.
Because they're having unprotected physical intimacy. They're not asking questions. They're not getting tested. They're just flying in, raw dogging whoever is willing, and flying out like they didn't just potentially put people at risk. Some of them are bringing HIV with them. Some of them are catching it while they're there, and some of them are passing it to multiple women because they want to feel like the man for once in their lives. They're turning these countries into STD dumping grounds, and it is sick. You don't have to take my word for it. Go look up the public health data. HIV rates are skyrocketing in places like the Dominican Republic. And it's not because of the locals. It's because of sex tourism. It's because these broke men from the States are flying in with no care in the world. And what's crazy and scary is that, they come back to the United States like they've done something special. They post pictures smiling with women that they have paid $25 for. They make videos bragging about how submissive she was. They don't tell you she was struggling. They don't tell you she needed that money for her kids. They don't tell you that they might have left her with a disease.
So the passport boys are coming back with HIV. Oh, wow. And I said, when it flipped, they would take our rhetoric and feed it back to us. And now it's coming full circle because the ones who could go over there went over there, wherever there is, kept going back, picked up HIV, and now they're coming back to rebrand for the black woman and pass it on to black women. And watch this. They're going to see it as a punishment for us not being there where they felt we should be, for us not submitting, for us not being subjugated. They're going to see this as a punishment for us not behaving in the first place. Because had we just submitted and been be traditional, all that stuff that they claimed they wanted us to be, had we just did that in the first place, none of this will be happening. In other words, they're going to take their nonsense, their consequences, and try to turn them back around and make them our fault. Move accordingly.
And let me ask you this. What kind of man goes on a plane to go exploit women in poverty? Not a high value man, not a strong leader. That is a predator. That's a coward. And then they'll come back to black women talking about submission and being feminine when they couldn't even afford the women in their own country. You couldn't get the women in Houston. You can't get the women in Atlanta. You probably got laughed out of Miami. So now you're suddenly a king in Medellin, Colombia. No, you're just an American idiot with a couple dollars, and now your peen has HIV. They always say American women are too difficult. No, I think American women just see through your BS. We're not desperate. We're not going to be submissive to struggle. We're not impressed by your little tax refund vacation. And we're not going to risk our bodies for men who don't even value their own. This is why we have always been saying rejection is your protection. Black women, let these men go. If he wants to go fly out for Coochie that costs $47, let him. If he wants to run to a country where women are too poor to say no, sounds like a plan to me. You don't want that anyway. And with the way these diseases are spreading, you don't want him anywhere near your body, your bed, or your life.
So I just seen that there have been reported that there's over, I think, 80,000 new cases of people contracting HIV in the Dominican Republic. That's alarming and that's scary, and that lets you know there's a lot of men out here that don't care and they will risk it all over some butt cheeks. And listen, bro, there's real live pimps out there, bro. Pimps, bro. I'm telling you, bro, this is another world, bro. Like, they selling booty like fruit out there, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different world, man. But like I said, y'all dudes, y'all should be ashamed of yourself going out there bringing back diseases, man. It ain't that deep, bro. Now, I'm gonna tell you, I believe it, because when I went to the DR, I was amazed at how easily accessible women were. And these are not women that are ugly. These are women that look like J-Lo. These are women that look like Selena. And these women will give it to you for much of nothing.
Passport bros are not going to other countries just for schmecks. They're also not going there for love. They are going there because they are looking for a woman to control. Because the American dollar stretches further. They are holding this carrot on a stick for the women, saying, come with me, I will take care of you. Look how rich I am. Look how much money I can spend in your country. And then she finds out when she comes back to America that he is fucking broke. So you talking about women going to other countries for schmecks has nothing to do with this conversation. Men are going to other countries to seek control of women because they can't afford to control women in the US of A or whatever other fucking country passport bros are coming from. Men are looking for the biggest bang for their buck. Instead of simply focusing on their own health, well-being, and finances, they need a slave at home to control. I know, these are very big concepts for little brains to understand. But the men are losing control of the women in America. More women are waking up to the bullshit. And the more resources that women have, the less we have to depend on men to survive. That is why men go to other countries that are poorer, try to entice women who have no resources or access to them. 1 + 1 = 2 also. I just want to throw that in there because I'm not sure what level of intelligence you're at.
If they're proud to be passport bros, then let them be proud with a positive test result. They booked a one-way flight to exploitation and came back with something that they can't cure. I really hope Black women know what's coming next. These same men flying out for $15 Coochie, catching HIV in other countries, they're going to come back to America like nothing happened. And who do you think they're going to start sleeping with again? You, Black women. Okay, I am begging you to understand. This is how our HIV rates spike. Not because of anything we're doing, okay, but because of the men y'all continue to sleep with. You'll be seeing them come home, taking pictures like they just went on vacation and they're well-traveled and they're cultured. Meanwhile, they are infected. They're walking biohazards. And then they'll lay up with you raw as if they're clean. Then the same men who brought HIV back to this community will get online and have the nerve to talk about Black women's HIV rates as if it's our fault, when we already know why the numbers for HIV in Black women are so high. It's because you keep sleeping with them. Don't sleep with them. Go celibate. Trust me, I've been celibate for a long time. Don't sleep with these men, okay? These Black men are not just sleeping with women. Many of them are sleeping with men too. A lot of these so-called straight men are really on the down low. They're sleeping with other men in secret, raw, and then turning around and sleeping with Black women like nothing happened. That's how the disease spreads, okay? Obviously, that's how it's always spread. Black women are being infected by men who lie about who they are. Men refuse to get tested. Men who are too ashamed to live in their truth. So they keep endangering everyone around them. These men are reckless, selfish, and dangerous. And as a Black woman, you will be the one that pays the price. So yes, the HIV rates are going to keep rising. If you keep messing with them, it's not worth it. I promise you. Stop sleeping with them. Stop dating them. Stop giving them access to your body, your spirit, and your energy, because they don't care about protecting you. They don't even care about protecting themselves. This is a sick, twisted group of men we're dealing with. Men who risk your life, okay, just to feel powerful for a couple minutes. Men who will lie to your face, cheat behind your back, and infect you without blinking.
Hear me now, believe me later. If you're dealing with a man who be going to Colombia, DR, on these little boy trips, Brazil, Thailand, you better not touch that thing until he go to the doctor. I'm telling you. When they go over there, they are paying for prostitutes, right? And you got to think, they not going over there buying no flight and then going to get no prostitute just to use a condom. They not. It's just like when they cheat on y'all. Like, when they cheat on you, you think they leaving raw sex to go have condom sex? No, they not. I don't care what they telling you. They not doing that. It wouldn't even make sense. So they could have raw sex with you, and instead they choosing to go have condom sex with some rando who they risking their whole relationship for. No, they not. They not using no protection. They not. And a lot of y'all out here who in this dating scene, I done told you before, you better get on prep. Because this HIV is running rampant. These are y'all problems, not mine, because I don't date. And ain't nobody touching me, right? But I do want y'all to stay safe out there.
These Black men are not partners. They are predators in denial. So if you're still sleeping with Black men in 2025, I have to ask you, why? What's the reason? What exactly are you hoping to gain? Because all I see is disrespect, disease, destruction, and disappointment. Rejection is your protection. The next time a man tells you he just got back from the Dominican Republic, Colombia, Brazil, Thailand, in my opinion, you should be running. You need to look at his passport, okay? That is not a man who is cultured. That is a man who is more than likely contaminated. Protect your life, sis, because they won't. And before I go, I want to say something directly to Black women, especially the ones who still feel torn, confused, or even guilty for walking away from these Black men. Let me be clear. You owe this community nothing if it's killing you. Not your loyalty, not your body, not your forgiveness. You don't have to hold it down. Your life is worth more than their excuses. You are not here to be collateral damage for somebody else's self-hate. You are not here to be infected by a man who couldn't even respect your worth, your health, or your future. You're not here to be the final stop on a train full of lies, violence, and disease. No, you deserve more than survival. You deserve peace, pleasure, protection, and power. But you won't find that entertaining men who have proven over and over that they don't care if you live or die. Any man who would risk your health for a nut is not a man who loves you. So protect yourself like no one else will, because in many cases, they won't. You better start loving yourself like you're not disposable, because you're not. Start setting boundaries like you're the prize, because you are. And start living like you're already free, because you can be if you stop letting them back in. You don't owe them another chance. Black women, I hope you like this video. Until my next one, I love you so much. Bye.